Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going on another deep dive. You know how we do it around here. And this time we're going to be looking at the lives of Ali and Fatima.
Oh, absolutely. A truly remarkable couple in Islamic history.
Right. You shared a fascinating lecture by Dr. Omar Suleiman with us, and
Yeah, his insights were just
I know. So let's unpack those a bit and see what made their lives and marriage so inspiring.
okay. Sounds great.
Ali's upbringing has always fascinated me to think he was raised by the Prophet Muhammad himself from such a young age.
I know that's got to be a profound experience, right? To be taken in by the prophet.
Absolutely. And it really speaks to the Prophet's character, too.
Right. Even before the message of Islam. Like
Yeah.
he's exemplifying compassion and a strong sense of community, taking care of Ali when his father, Abu Talib, was going through financial hardships. So
Yeah.
it really sets the stage for understanding, his character and the importance of community in Islam.
And then you have Fatima, born in the very first year of prophethood. Can you imagine growing up amidst such a monumental change?
Wow. Yeah, witnessing the birth of a new faith and the struggles that came with it.
Right, she wasn't just observing history, she was living it.
Exactly. And those early experiences with her father, the prophet, you got to think that must have deeply shaped her character and her outlook.
Speaking of their relationship, Dr. Suleiman highlighted the incredible bond between Fatima and the prophet. He would stand when she entered, kiss her forehead, offer her his seat, even called her the leader of the women of all the world.
That's powerful in a time when women were often marginalized.
Right.
His actions demonstrated a profound respect, not just for his own daughter, but for all women.
Absolutely. And Fatima's strength shines through as well. Even at just 10 years old, she comforted the prophet after he was publicly humiliated.
Yeah, that takes incredible maturity and devotion at that age. It's really remarkable.
Now let's talk about their love story. Dr. Suleiman shared that kind of funny story about Ali's marriage proposal.
Yeah, he was so shy and intimidated by the thought of marrying the prophet's daughter. Even Ali, known for his bravery, could be tongue-tied when it came to matters of the heart.
And their wedding was incredibly simple. The dowry was just 480 dirhams, some used for necessities and perfume, with the rest entrusted to Salama.
Hmm?
It really challenges the notion of extravagance that we often associate with weddings, doesn't it?
I mean, do you think it was a deliberate statement about, rejecting material wealth or simply a reflection of their circumstances at the time?
It's interesting to think about. They really seem to prioritize simplicity, practicality, and trust their focus was on the true meaning of marriage, not outward appearances.
And the community involvement was just beautiful. Everyone rallied around them. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman.
Yeah,
They all helped prepare for the wedding, even buying Fatima clothes and helping set up their new home.
it really paints such a beautiful picture of community spirit and support in those early days of Islam.
Even the walima, the wedding feast, was so modest, just barley dates and date paste.
Right, it speaks to their humility and the Prophet's emphasis on simplicity. This celebration wasn't about showing off wealth or status, but about the sacred bond of marriage and the joy of community.
And Dr. Suleiman described the prophet's blessing on their wedding night. He poured water over them and prayed for their happiness and progeny.
Such a touching gesture. You can really feel the depth of his love for them, and it beautifully illustrates the importance Islam places on marriage and family.
And it sets the stage for the next chapter of their lives, building a life together based on faith service and love.
Absolutely. But before we dive into that, let's pause here for a second and reflect on what we've learned so far. Anything standing out to you?
Well, I think Ali's upbringing in the Prophet's household really stands out. And imagine the impact that had on his character and understanding of Islam.
Right, like talk about mentorship and early influences. He was immersed in the Prophet's teachings, witnessed his example firsthand.
Exactly. And Fatima, her incredible strength. Do you think those qualities were innate or shaped by the challenges she faced?
I mean, her inherent personality must have played a role, but I have to think facing those early hardships really refined her character.
True strength often emerges through adversity.
Right. And remember, this was a time when daughters were often seen as a burden.
Hmm.
But the Prophet cherished and honored Fatima in a way that was revolutionary for that era.
A powerful statement about the value and respect Islam places on women. He didn't just preach this, he lived it.
Absolutely. And their simple wedding with the community's involvement seems like such a deliberate message about what truly matters in a marriage.
Yeah, a clear rejection of materialistic values and an affirmation of the spiritual significance of marriage.
They focused on love commitment and community support, not on outward appearances.
So much to unpack, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. Are you ready to dive deeper into their married life and the legacy they built together?
Absolutely. Their story offers timeless wisdom and inspiration that continues to resonate with us today.
Let's do it. So their marriage is truly inspiring. But it wasn't a fairy tale. They faced real challenges, especially when it came to like living conditions.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Suleiman mentioned their home was extremely modest, just a few basic furnishings, a bed, a water skin, a grinding stone, some simple cushions.
It's hard to imagine, especially for someone like Fatima, the prophet's daughter, but they faced these material hardships with remarkable patience and resilience.
It makes you think, like, even though she was the daughter of the prophet,
Right.
right?
Right.
Their home was so simple, they could have easily focused on material possessions, but they didn't.
Mm.
And this shows us that for Ali and Fatima, their faith and their commitment to each other were more valuable than any worldly comfort.
And their simple lifestyle also challenged gender norms of the time.
Oh, how so?
Ali, despite his reputation as a warrior,
Right.
he didn't shy away from housework. He would help Fatima with chores like fetching water, grinding grain.
Wow. So they really had like an egalitarian relationship built on mutual respect.
Right. They shattered any notion of like rigid gender roles.
Right.
They showcased a partnership built on shared responsibility and a willingness to support each other in all aspects of life.
And even though they lived simply, their home was a hub of activity.
Yeah.
Always open to guests and those in need.
Exactly. Their home wasn't just a physical space. It was a sanctuary of faith, compassion, and community.
They embodied the true spirit of Islamic hospitality,
Right.
welcoming people from all walks of life, sharing whatever little they had.
It's a stark contrast to the consumerism and materialism that's so prevalent in our world today.
Yeah, you're right. Their story really invites us to reevaluate our own priorities.
What truly brings us happiness?
Yeah, is it accumulating possessions, chasing status?
Right.
Or is it about cultivating meaningful relationships, serving others, living in accordance with our values?
I think Ali and Fatima's story offers a powerful answer to that question.
I agree.
Now let's talk about their role as parents. Dr. Suleiman mentioned that Fatima was incredibly devoted to her children, Hassan and Hussein, nurturing them with love and instilling in them the values of their grandfather.
Yeah, and these weren't just any children. These were the grandsons of the Prophet,
Right.
destined to play pivotal roles in Islamic history.
What I find so interesting is that Fatima didn't shy away from teaching her sons about the injustices and struggles faced by their family and Muslim community.
Wow, so she wanted them to grow up with a sense of justice and compassion.
Exactly. She understood that shielding them from hardship wouldn't prepare them for the leadership roles they were likely to assume.
That's powerful.
She instilled in them a deep sense of empathy, a commitment to standing up for what's right,
Right.
a willingness to sacrifice for a greater cause.
And there's that heartbreaking story of Fatima going to her father, asking for help with the housework.
Oh, yeah. Her hands were blistered from grinding grain.
Yeah, it reveals the physical toll that poverty and hardship took on them, even as they never complained or lost their faith.
And the prophet's response to Fatima's plea for help is so insightful, he didn't simply give her a servant. He offered her words of comfort and spiritual guidance.
Right. He reminded her of the rewards of patience and the importance of remembering God.
He taught her beautiful supplications, words of remembrance that she could repeat to find solace and connect with God even in the midst of her chores.
That's beautiful. It highlights the profound connection between faith and resilience.
Right.
How spiritual grounding can provide strength and solace in the face of adversity.
I think we can all learn from that, to find those moments of connection with the divine, even in the midst of our everyday tasks.
Absolutely.
Their story is so rich with wisdom and inspiration.
It really is.
I'm eager to explore their legacy and what their lives mean for us today. It's really amazing how even after all these centuries, Ali and Fatima, they continue to inspire Muslims around the world.
Their story, it's so powerful.
What do you think makes their legacy so enduring?
Well, I think it's because their lives, they were like a tapestry woven with threads of love, sacrifice, resilience, unwavering faith. They weren't just historical figures. They embodied Islamic value.
They were living examples of compassion, justice, and devotion to God.
Exactly. And their legacy was one of inspiration, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, we can choose faith over despair, love over hate, service to others over self-interest.
And Dr. Suleiman, he really emphasized that point, that they weren't just pious, they were champions of social justice and equality, always standing up for the marginalized, speaking truth to power.
Yeah, they didn't just talk about Islamic values, they lived them.
They challenged societal norms.
Right, advocated for the oppressed.
And their commitment to simplicity is so relevant today, especially in a world consumed by materialism.
Absolutely.
They showed us that true happiness, it doesn't come from accumulating wealth or possessions, but from inner peace, strong relationships, and a life of purpose.
Your story, it's like a powerful antidote to the emptiness that often comes with, life focused solely on worldly pursuits.
Right.
It invites us to kind of step back and ask ourselves, you know, what are we chasing fleeting pleasures, material gains, or are we investing in our spiritual growth, our connections with loved ones, making the world a better place?
In their role as parents, they raised Hassan and Hussein to be beacons of compassion, courage, integrity. Their legacy, it lives on through the generations that followed.
Yeah, their approach to parenting, it's a model for us all.
Yeah.
They understood the importance of instilling strong values, nurturing empathy, preparing their children to face the world's challenges, with courage and commitment to justice.
It's a reminder that our legacy, it extends beyond our own accomplishments to the values we pass on to future generations.
And Dr. Suleiman also discussed the tragedy of Karbala, where Hussein and his family faced unimaginable suffering.
Right, it's such a stark reminder of the sacrifices made by those who stood up for truth and justice, even when facing overwhelming odds.
Yeah, the events of Karbala are deeply embedded in the hearts of Muslims, especially Shia Muslims, and Hussein's sacrifice. It's seen as a victory of the spirit, a reminder that standing up for what's right is a moral imperative regardless of the consequences.
So after exploring their lives and their legacy, what can we take away from all this? What can we learn from Ali and Fatima?
Well, I think their story is ultimately a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can triumph.
It's a call to action.
Yeah, urging us to embody compassion, courage, justice, unwavering faith, to find strength in our connection with God, to support one another, and to strive for a more just and equitable world.
This has been such an inspiring deep dive. Ali and Fatima's story, it truly transcends time, and they offer timeless lessons on love, faith, and living a meaningful life. But here's a question for you all to ponder. How can we, in our own unique ways, embody their values and contribute to building a better world? Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep striving to make a positive difference. Until next time.